you just kind of look at and understand what's running our body is our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind has the blueprint of how to make us, how to make a healthy us. We can intensify the pain or lower the pain with our brain. There's a real big emotional component to pain. Our brain can't tell the difference between a real or imagined image. So I put these images in my mind of me being healthy and strong and flexible and doing the things I love and feeling good about it.
If you haven't done so already, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. It's a little red button. You punch that, and it's going to notify you every time we put out a new episode that can help you improve your bone health. And then also, if you haven't done so already, head over to BoneCoach.com, sign up for the free 7-day Osteoporosis Kickstart. That's going to walk you through everything you need to be doing right now to get on the path to improvement and stronger bones. After you do those two things, go ahead and press play on this episode, and I'll see you inside. Welcome to this episode of the BoneCoach Show. Joining us today to explore mindset shifts to release chronic pain is Jane Hogan. Jane Hogan is the wellness engineer, and she blends science and spirituality to help people release chronic pain using the mind, body, and breath so they can become empowered creators of their own health. Her personal experience of reversing crippling rheumatoid arthritis using natural solutions inspired her to lead a 30-year engineering career and become a functional medicine certified health coach, certified yoga teacher, and wellness educator. Jane, it is such a pleasure to have you here today.
Kevin, I'm thrilled to be here and be on your podcast and just share what I've learned with your audience.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm excited to dive in and learn a little bit more about your journey. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Like you were in a different career completely, and then you had crippling rheumatoid arthritis, which a lot of people are affected by and really have a hard time, doing things naturally to help improve that. And here you are, you've made a tremendous progress, and like now you're helping other people. It's absolutely amazing. So can you tell me, what is a wellness engineer, and how did you come into that, come into being the wellness engineer?
Well, I think it just, it fell out from being an engineer. That's who I am. I had this career. I was a structural engineer. My little joke is I was a structural engineer until my own structure started to fail with the joints. And it came about from a very stressful year. It seemed like. Now I know that was a tipping point, and it was really kind of a lifetime of like low grade stress in how I felt about myself. But the tipping point was a very stressful year. And I very suddenly, when I just turned 50, when I turned 50, I felt fabulous. And I was like, 50 is fabulous. It's great. And then about 3 weeks later, I started having this terrible migrating joint pain. It would be in, one shoulder one day and the opposite elbow another day, and then my hands started to swell up, and my feet, I got orthotics, and it just like happened so quickly. Within 3 months, I was barely able to walk. I couldn't turn door handles. I couldn't like squeeze shampoo out of the bottle. Like I was getting to the point where I was almost not even able to take care of myself. And we were just coming up to the freedom years, and I felt like we weren't going to be free to do all the things that my husband and I planned to do in retirement. And I felt like I was letting everybody down, and I had been healthy and athletic all my life. How did this happen to me? I felt like a real victim. But I remember at one point, I was just at such a low point, like literally curled up, crying in pain. And it's like I got this download. You're going to figure this out. You're going to get well, and you're going to tell other people how to do it. So I didn't know what was happening then. And, it was just like, well, that was weird. But I am a problem solver. That's what engineers are, right? We're problem solvers. But at that point, I really didn't know what to do. I was Googling, of course, and trying to figure it out. And I was like, I think this is some kind of autoimmune thing. But I had no diagnosis. But my doctor, I'm really lucky that I have like a conventional family doctor who said sometimes food can affect joints. And I thought it was crazy, but she said gluten and dairy were kind of the most common. So I just cut them out cold turkey. Like I've got that if someone tells me to do something, like I'm just doing it right away. So I cut them out, and sugar actually, 3 of them at the same time. And in about 5 days, I had a lot less pain. Like I still had lots of inflammation and the pain wasn't gone, but I saw that there was an improvement through something that I did. So then I felt really empowered, and I just kept on going and researching. I learned about functional medicine. I did the functional medicine health coaching program, just really more to learn more about functional medicine. And then I was like, I think I want to coach people. And I realized I really wanted to tell people about this because nobody I knew. I live in Newfoundland. I live in a small town. The big town next door is like 15,000 people. And I'd be telling people about, do you know food? And did you know that you could sleep and change your lifestyle and you can actually reverse these things? And people didn't want to hear it. And I thought, I just need a platform. It was my soul's calling then, like my passion. I just wanted to talk to people about it. So that's why I'm so grateful to be here. So I ended up leaving my career, decided to go full time into health coaching, changing people's lives. It's just it's a big switch, but it's such a gift to be able to empower people in their health. And I'm sure you see this all the time, Kevin, and what you do as well.
Yeah, no, it's so amazing to see, and a lot of the great health practitioners out there and things like that. A lot of us in this health space, our journey started with our own health conditions and issues and things like that. And that was really the impetus for going through the struggle, the challenges, feeling it, experiencing it firsthand, seeing that things aren't necessarily laid out perfectly for you. And it can be a rocky road if you don't have guidance, and then deciding you want to then be a shepherd for someone else. That's amazing, right? It's really amazing. And you said something interesting too, which was, you had, sounds like at least a little bit more progressive physician in terms of someone acknowledging the role that nutrition plays in your health and inflammation. And you were able to make some changes that led to improvements in your health, which kind of got you some momentum moving forward. So that's amazing to hear. Now, I know, chronic pain is a part of your story, right? And has been a part of your story. And for so many people that I speak with and work with too, chronic pain is I see this all the time. Is chronic pain something people just have to learn to live with?
Absolutely not. I mean, I was told I'd have to learn to live with it. And if you start Googling, we've all got the access to Google these things. If you Google what I had, rheumatoid arthritis, it just says, oh, it gets progressively worse and you'll be in a wheelchair and so on. If I had followed that story, I would not be where I am now. So I think we can choose the story. So if you choose the story that chronic pain is, you have to learn to live with it, well, you'll probably be there. But if you choose a story that I can figure this out and I can reverse it, and we know that we can, if you seek out those stories on the internet, you will find them. That's what I did. I found some stories and I was like, wow, this person reversed it. I can reverse it. It's funny because my father he didn't have rheumatoid arthritis, but he had diabetes, and he had 3, I think, triple bypasses. So he had this heart condition, and he used to go to this place in Utah that I think was called the National Institute of Fitness. Every year he would go for a month, and they would put him on basically what sounds like a paleo diet. And he would go off all his medications while he was down there. So I kind of knew there's something you could do. And I think that was maybe in the back of my head as well, but that we don't have to learn to live with these. His problem was he'd come back home and get back into his old ways. So what we need to do is really make the lifestyle changes. And that's where coaches come in. And you know this as well. Lifestyle changes aren't necessarily easy to make when we've had this pattern of behavior. But with a coach by your side, it's easier to make these changes, and we can totally reverse pain. There are many, many, many people who have done it. So I say seek out those stories, and those are the stories that you follow.
And what would you say to someone just even to take that a little bit further, if someone is in that state of chronic pain and they're waking up every day and they're in the moment and they just don't know how to look or get out of that place, what would you say to that person?
First of all, lots of compassion for them. I understand what it's like to be in that position, and it's not pleasant. You feel anger about what's happened to you. You feel fear for your future. There's just so many negative feelings. But what I do know now is that negative feelings will perpetuate it, right? Negative feelings are a vibration in our body, and every single one of our cells are bathed in that vibration. So if you continue with that vibration, then you're going to continue getting the same thing. So we need to change the vibration that our cells are being bathed in, so that they're turning over all the time, right? It's kind of funny, but we're not even the same person physically we were 7 years ago, right? Everything changes over. And so we can create a different reality, but not if we keep thinking the same thoughts. We have to change our thoughts.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like the mind has a really powerful connection to your health too, and also your pain. So what is the connection between those two things?
Well, okay. I mean, we could get all quantum physicsy on it, but we don't have to do that.
That might be the engineer in you that would come
Yeah,
out too.
yeah. Well, we didn't learn about quantum physics in engineering. We learned Newtonian physics, and quantum physics is totally different. We create our reality with quantum physics. But if you just kind of look at and understand what's running our body is our subconscious mind, right? We're not consciously going, beat the heart, send some blood around, breathe. We're not really thinking about all that. Our subconscious mind runs the body, and it's a very powerful processor, but it gets some instructions from our conscious mind, and then it creates sort of habits, like kind of downloads the programs, if you want to think about it that way, into the subconscious mind. So our conscious mind can direct our subconscious mind, and then our subconscious mind says, oh, okay, we'll run the body this way. Our subconscious mind has the blueprint. Here I go with my engineering terms again. Our subconscious mind has the blueprint of how to make a healthy us. So we want to give it the directions to make the healthy version of ourselves. If we give it directions of, oh, life is terrible and this pain, it'll go, pain, okay, more pain. Life is terrible, okay, more of that. So as I say, I'm coming from compassion because I understand what it's like to be in chronic pain, and that it's not easy to make the switch. But here's how I started, Kevin. I started with a vision. So I found out stories of other people that had healed. So that was the belief. And then I took those stories and I was like, okay, if I was out of pain, what would my life look like? I started imagining myself. We don't have a sailboat, but I was imagining that we were on a sailboat, my husband and I, and I'm like hoisting up the sails. You got to be strong. Your hands have to be strong to do that. I imagined climbing up a mountain and like just being at the top and holding my arms up in victory. I don't have grandchildren yet, but I imagined I was chasing after grandchildren and like popping them up in the air. And so with this vision, I would create feelings in me that were beautiful feelings. So I would try to just take my focus off the pain. And really, our brain, we can intensify the pain or lower the pain with our brain. There's a real big emotional component to pain. So I would just try to do this and kind of escape from the pain, as long as I can. And I kind of describe it like little pearls on a necklace. So if I could escape from the pain through maybe a meditation or lying still or doing a body scan or doing my visualization, then I could escape the pain for little bits. And then I would try to join them together. So eventually, you got a complete pearl necklace that's where there's no pain. It was step by step. But that's what I did. I did this visualization and created the feelings in my body and that image. Because the other thing is our brain can't tell the difference between a real or imagined image. So I put these images in my mind of me being healthy and strong and flexible and doing the things that I love and feeling good about it.
That's amazing. And other than just, thinking other than just using your mind to think and visualizing, are there other ways to reinforce or amplify that? So maybe writing or using verbal spoken language too. Are there other tools like that that you can use?
Absolutely. So I did journaling a lot. Journaling, like what would my best day look like? Journaling, and sometimes I would journal about. I don't like to live in the past too much, but one thing I realized was that I had kind of been carrying this low grade bit of I'm not worthy, not good enough feeling, which a lot of us get, that, is programmed in before the age of 7. And so I was carrying this along. So I kind of did some journaling to say, where did this come from? Like I did this funny journaling that I'd say, I write 3 parts. One part was, what am I thinking about now? And then a memory from my childhood is, and then how that impacts my life today. So it's not like I was looking back to blame anyone. It was just like from a curiosity, from a point of curiosity. Okay, it was funny what would bubble up from my childhood, right? So, and I kept on thinking, after I was doing this for, I don't know, maybe a month, I'm like, there can't be anything else. But no, every day something would come up, something new. And it was interesting. So it kind of gave me some insights into why I had manifested this health condition. I mean, if you think about it, I had an autoimmune condition. If autoimmune, it's like rejecting self. And that's kind of where I was, but it just had built up over my entire life. So I had to do a lot of work with that. So journaling helped kind of identify spots. I also used affirmations a lot. So one way to reprogram that subconscious mind is through repetition, right? So I would literally look in the mirror and say, you're a good person, you're a kind person, and this is one of my favorites, you are an example of what's possible, right? So
I love that.
I had a bunch, and I still give those out, those affirmations out to my clients now. Like these affirmations, just repeating. And I recorded myself. I listened to them over and over again. Sometimes I listened to them while I was asleep, putting new programs into my subconscious mind. So yeah, those are tools. Tapping is another great tool. I don't know if your audience is familiar with emotional freedom technique or EFT tapping. It seems a little weird. If you don't know, it's like you're tapping on meridian points, kind of, as you make statements. And I found that really, really releasing. There's tons on YouTube if you want to look it up. I found there was one particular one, and it was for arthritis pain. And the lady that was leading it said one of the statements was, "I've been hard on myself for far too long." And Kevin, when I first did that, it was like just tears flowing, because I knew it was true. Usually when tears come, it's because we know it's true. And that when you're tapping on the points and saying those statements, you're releasing it instead of hanging those feelings inside the body somewhere where they create pain. So affirmations were powerful. Journaling was powerful. I found body scans really good, just kind of focusing on the body, because you're sort of giving loving attention to the body. So body scans, guided meditations for the healing, I like all that kind of stuff. So I found it really good. And just, lifestyle things, eating real food, right? Instead of packaged foods, getting lots of sleep, really prioritizing sleep, having a regular routine, getting to bed early, getting some movement in. In the beginning, when I couldn't move, like I was really like in a lot of pain, I couldn't even walk around the block. I would sit in a chair and I would like put on some music and I'd chair dance, because that was about all I could do then. But the music made me feel good. And so I did that. And then later on, I, got to do more and more, and of course did climb my mountain. And now I'm a yoga instructor. So it's really come a long way. So lifestyle things, also like getting rid of toxic relationships, right? I realized, hang on, I only want to be surrounded by people who want the best for me. That's it. That's my new litmus test. If they don't want what's the best for me, then why would I want to be around them? So I had to lovingly and with compassion let go of some people. So it may not be easy to do, but really, like, I had to learn to love myself enough to do that.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Right. If you are, if the presence of somebody or the presence of, or the thought of interacting with somebody, leaves you feeling not great about yourself or about the situation, or it's not somebody that, or those thoughts aren't positive thoughts that you have, that might be a good indicator, right? That
Mhm.
it's time to maybe break those chains, and move forward with
Mm.
a different path.
There's a couple of things. I mean, one could be that this person is just sort of reflecting back to you what you need to, maybe a lesson you need to learn, right? But the other thing is, some people are just, they just drain, right? And
Yeah.
so recognizing that, but the key thing is to not have a judgment about it, like they're not good, so I don't want to be around them. It's like, wow, their life circumstances have created the, where they are now, and if I had gone through their life circumstance, I'd probably be the same way. I can feel compassion for them, but I don't have to be around them. So it's a very subtle difference, maybe not so subtle, but certainly not having judgments are negative in the body, and that they're low vibration, right? So I love the high vibration feelings.
I love that, Jane. I really do. And then I've also heard you speak about breath before too, and breath and its connection to helping release chronic pain. And breath, I mean, it's a powerful tool. It's free
Yep.
also, right? That's the great thing about breath, is it's free. How do you make the connection between the two? Like, how can you use breath to release chronic pain?
Mhm. Well, I learned years ago anyway, but then again in my functional medicine training and then through yoga, we are not just the body, we're not just the mind, we're not just spirit, we are all together. And the breath is spirit in the body. When we stop breathing, we're no longer in this vessel, right? So the breath is just such a great tool. It can connect the spirit and the body and the mind together, and it's just like blows my mind how powerful it is. And as you said, it's free, and it's the ultimate portable device, right? So we can use the breath, can either create stress in the body, or it can create peace and calm in the body. And obviously, peace and calm is a body that can heal. So we want to use the breath to create peace and calm. Now, when people are in pain, they often are not breathing correctly. They're like shallow breathing, maybe even holding their breath. And so we want to use the breath as a tool to activate that parasympathetic state of the nervous system that creates healing. We cannot heal in the sympathetic state. We have to be in that parasympathetic rest, digest state. So as much as we can get ourselves into that state, that's where we want to be. That should be our normal state. Instead, most of us are, we got some low level of or even high levels of stress in that sympathetic state. So the breath is the fastest way to get yourself into that state. That's another reason why I love it.
That's
I love
great.
efficiency. Engineers also love efficiency, right? So I really like honed in on the breath as being such like the first place, the first tool, even before food. I started with food, but now I realize looking back that even the breath, when you can create calm with the breath when you're eating, you will digest your food better, you'll absorb your nutrients better. And so it doesn't even matter. You can be eating the best food in the world, but if you're in a state of stress while you're eating it, you're not going to be absorbing, you're not going to be digesting very well. So the breath can even help with that. It's a powerful detox as well. It obviously gets rid of like carbon dioxide, and also we've got like 3 pounds of bacteria and organisms in our microbiome and in our gut microbiome. They're constantly expelling their gases through our breath. I mean, it's kind of weird to think about that, but that's how it gets out of us. So the breath has all these roles to do. Plus, if you're breathing properly, like down low, then you're helping all the other organs that in the lymphatic system also do their detoxing. So it's just so powerful.
That's great. And I do know that you've also got coming up, Jane, you have the Becoming Pain Free, at least for the listeners that are listening to this when this is first released, you have the Becoming Pain Free Healing the Root Causes of Chronic Pain Summit that's coming up also. So would you tell us just a little bit about that? And then we'll be sure also to link to that summit here in the show notes, but tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I am so excited about this, Kevin. It's July 18th to the 24th.
Of 2022.
Yes,
Yeah.
in case someone might be listening to this podcast years down the road. And it is, I just wanted it to be all the pieces that took me years to put together. I wanted it to be all in one place for people that were suffering from chronic pain. I wanted them to understand that they don't have to learn to live with the pain. I wanted them to see that pain isn't a problem. Pain is telling you that there is a problem and your body's just asking for your help. And so we've got so many experts. You're on it, and so many other people as well. We've got 48 speakers. We're looking at the role of lifestyle, the big picture, and the role of our mind and how our mind can help us heal, and the gut, the heart brain connection. We've looking at movement and how movement can and your spine can change pain pathways in the body. And we've got a whole bunch of like alternative type of therapies that are really helpful. Like I've got the EFT person that I listen to that helped me. She's on there, and so many others. Then we got a whole day that's dedicated to specific conditions where you're talking about bone health, and others people are talking about like fibromyalgia and Lyme disease and arthritis and autoimmune conditions and so on. So I'm just really, really excited to share this with the world. I know that so many people are in chronic pain. I think it's like 65% of people over the age of 65, 1/5 of the US population. And it's the number one reason globally that people can't have to stop working. So it's a big problem, and it doesn't have to be a problem when you have the right tools. So it's all about giving people the tools in their toolbox to help them get out of chronic pain.
Well, this is so needed. I'm excited for it. And if you're listening to this ahead of time, you can always head to the show notes right below. Also, you'll be able to find this, and all you do is you click on the link. It'll take you to the registration page. And if you're listening to it afterward, there'll be access to get access to it ongoing indefinitely too. So go ahead and check that out. Make sure you check the show notes out. And then also, where can people find you, Jane, now and beyond too?
Well, my website currently is janehoganhealth.com, and on all social media channels, it's at Jane Hogan Health. And I have a podcast as well, the Wellness by Design podcast. And so that's great places to find me.
Wonderful. Well, we'll leave those in the show notes. And for those of you listening, you can find all the resources, show notes, everything I mentioned here over at bonecoach.com/Jane Hogan Health Chronic Pain. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We'll see you in the next one.
Hey, it's Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. Hope you found that episode helpful and that you enjoyed it. Just one last reminder, if you haven't done so already, head over to bonecoach.com, sign up for your free 7-day osteoporosis kickstart. It's going to tell you everything you need to do to start getting on the path to improvement. Hope you found this helpful. I'm your Bone Coach Kevin Ellis. I'll see you soon.